They say Hollywood is built on dreams, but if you dig deep enough, you might find nightmares lurking behind the scenes. Right now, the entertainment world is buzzing with rumors about one of its most iconic figures, Shawn "Diddy" Combs. Whispers of FBI raids, secret alliances, and scandalous parties have suddenly thrown the spotlight on a man once considered a hip-hop legend. Everyone's asking the same question. Could what's unfolding be more explosive than we ever imagined? You're about to discover why some insiders are calling this the biggest potential shakeup since the days of the Epstein scandal. But don't be fooled. This isn't just about one man's downfall. It's about what might be revealed when someone with Diddy's connections faces allegations that threaten to expose Hollywood's deepest secrets. Strap in, because if even half these rumors turn out to be true, the entire entertainment industry could be on the verge of a reckoning. When the FBI reportedly showed up at Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami, nobody knew what to think. At first, people assumed it was just another high-profile star in trouble, a story we'd hear today and forget tomorrow. But this was different. Almost immediately, chatter started swirling that the raids weren't just about Diddy. They were supposedly aimed at retrieving evidence tied to a ring of influential figures, or so the theories went. In other words, Diddy might be only one piece in a bigger puzzle. Then Joe Rogan entered the conversation. On his massively popular podcast, Rogan hinted that these revelations could crack open something so enormous it would make past Hollywood scandals look tame. Speculations flew. Was Diddy holding incriminating evidence against other elites? Could entire careers hinge on what he did, or didn't, reveal? Rogan left those questions hanging, but his cautious tone suggested he'd heard things that made him think twice. That's when fans and critics alike began asking the same question. How far does this go? It wasn't just the podcasts fueling the fire. Social media erupted with theories that Diddy was part of a hidden network, one where outrageous parties served as a front for more disturbing activities. Suddenly, tabloids were citing inside sources, connecting dots between Diddy's lavish lifestyle and the hidden corners of Hollywood that rarely see the light of day. By then, it was clear. This wasn't just gossip. Something bigger was coming, and the rumor mill was only getting louder. To understand how Diddy found himself in this swirling vortex, you have to look back at the people who shaped his rise. Chief among them is Clive Davis, the legendary music executive who took a chance on an ambitious young promoter and helped him create the powerhouse label Bad Boy Records. For years, Diddy praised Davis as the visionary who saw potential where others only saw risk. Yet in recent months, Davis has distanced himself, claiming he hardly knows the man he once championed. Many observers find that suspicious. Why the sudden cool-down from someone so integral to Diddy's success? Meanwhile, Russell Simmons also looms large in Diddy's narrative. Simmons co-founded Def Jam and was a heavyweight in the music industry long before Diddy arrived on the scene. He was at the helm of fashion brands, music labels, and philanthropic efforts, setting the blueprint for moguls like Diddy to follow. Over the years, the two were seen at exclusive events that only the highest echelon of celebrities could attend. But now, Simmons faces controversies of his own. Accusations of misconduct have plagued him, leading him to spend much of his time in Bali, away from potential extradition. Despite all that, he's publicly defended Diddy, scolding the public for judging his friend before the facts come out. Then there's Jaguar Wright, a name you may have heard whispered in connection to the dark side of the music industry. She's openly accused major label executives of enabling and encouraging unethical behavior. Wright has singled out figures like Clive Davis and others, suggesting that they nurtured Diddy's worst impulses. It's a damning claim, one that adds another layer of intrigue to an already complicated narrative. And here's where things get truly unnerving. These long-standing relationships paint a picture of a music world where deals aren't always made in boardrooms, and mentorship can sometimes morph into manipulation. If what critics like Wright say is true, Diddy's dramatic fall could be just the start of a much bigger domino effect. It's almost impossible to talk about Diddy without mentioning his legendary parties. For years, these so-called white parties were exclusive, star-studded events where everyone from A-list actors to top-tier musicians mingled under lavish decor. Paparazzi snapshots often showed smiling celebrities in crisp white outfits, looking like they were living in a dream world of opulence and glamour. But behind closed doors, rumors of something far more disturbing have persisted for years. Some partygoers claim that after midnight the vibe would shift. What began as a typical celebrity bash turned into something else entirely. Bow. Wow, who used to rave about Diddy's gatherings, later made cryptic remarks that left people speculating about what he might have witnessed. Even more chilling, Diddy's former bodyguards have hinted that they saw things that made them question their employer's true nature. While no one seems to want to spell out the details on camera, the whispers about bizarre rituals or manipulative tactics persist. One voice that's hard to ignore is Allison Carter, who stepped forward with allegations that these parties occasionally involved exploitation of vulnerable individuals. Her claims go even darker, mentioning possible satanic elements that sound straight out of a conspiracy thriller. Carter alleges she tried to alert authorities about underage guests and unsettling power dynamics, but was brushed off. She's since doubled down, warning people not to trust mainstream hotlines or official channels, insisting they sometimes fail survivors. Whether you think these stories are sensationalized or not, one fact remains. Multiple voices, former insiders, alleged survivors, and industry critics paint a consistently troubling picture. And if any fraction of it holds truth, it raises disturbing questions about how deeply rooted these secretive circles might be in Hollywood's power structure. In the wake of all these rumors, Hollywood's elite have found themselves in a tricky position. Do they stand by Diddy, a man who once commanded enormous respect and influence, or do they distance themselves entirely? For Jermaine Dupri, head of So-So Def Records, the choice seems clear. He's offered unwavering support, dismissing the FBI raid as blown out of proportion. In Dupri's eyes, wealthy individuals are easy targets for sensational accusations, and he believes Diddy's case is no exception. But that loyalty has come at a cost. Critics say Dupri is willfully overlooking the severity of the charges. They question why he keeps defending Diddy when more damning information keeps leaking out. Wow, once part of Dupri's roster, expressed nostalgia for those wild parties. Comments that fueled even more speculation about what truly transpired behind velvet ropes. Then there's Dr. Dre. He and Diddy share a storied history in hip-hop, both men shaping the sound and culture in massive ways. But when Diddy's troubles escalated, Dre chose to keep quiet. Some recall a past rift over a leaked Apple Beats deal that cost Dre millions, although they eventually patched things up. Is Dre's silence now a personal statement about the seriousness of the allegations? Or is he simply minding his own business to avoid a media circus? All these tensions extend beyond music. People have dragged in names like Jay-Z, Anna Wintour, and even members of political circles. Everyone anxious not to be the next one caught in a net of guilt by association. It's not just the music industry that might be affected. It's the entire constellation of brand partnerships and celebrity endorsements that revolve around star power. If Hollywood loves one thing, it's turning tragedies into headlines. But if it's staring down a genuine scandal, how will the industry protect itself from a potential avalanche of exposure? If you think all this is just talk, think again. The FBI raids led to formal charges, catapulting Diddy into a legal nightmare. The allegations run from trafficking to misconduct serious enough to carry a potential life sentence. A judge in New York has even set a trial date, signaling that prosecutors aren't messing around. They claim they have testimony from alleged victims, electronic records, and surveillance footage that could paint a grim portrait of systematic exploitation. Diddy's defense team, led by heavyweight attorneys known for tackling high-profile cases, vehemently denies these claims. They argue the media's fascination with Diddy's downfall has tainted any chance of a fair trial. In a bold move, they accused the government of leaking grand jury materials, calling it a deliberate smear campaign. Whether these accusations hold water or not, one thing is certain: the stakes couldn't be higher. If Diddy is found guilty, it's not just his freedom on the line. His legacy, brand, and decades-long career could crumble overnight. Legal analysts point out this could become a landmark case for the entertainment world. If the prosecution wins, it signals a shift toward real accountability for powerful figures who might have operated with impunity for years. If Diddy's team prevails, it might reinforce the idea that star power and vast resources can dismantle even the strongest legal assault. Whichever way it goes, the entertainment industry will be watching every move, bracing for the repercussions. While the attorneys battle it out in court, Diddy's immediate reality has changed beyond recognition. He's currently held in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a facility infamous for its grueling conditions. Gone are the days of champagne, private jets, and designer clothes. Now he spends his days in cramped quarters dealing with standard prison meals that could not be further from the gourmet feasts he once enjoyed. He also faces the psychological toll of constant surveillance, strip searches, and the knowledge that his once limitless world has shrunk to a cell. Guards document his every move, and the harsh environment, whether blistering hot in summer or freezing in winter, offers no relief. Even Diddy's immense wealth and influence mean little behind the walls of MDC, where schedules are rigid and privileges are minimal. Recent footage that allegedly shows him breaking down in tears over the possibility of a life sentence has made the rounds online. Some believe it reveals genuine remorse or fear. Others argue it's a strategic performance to sway public sympathy. Whatever the truth, the footage lays bare just how drastically his fortunes have turned. For a man who built an empire on confidence, persona, and spectacle, this raw vulnerability has left fans and critics reeling. At this point, it's hard to avoid seeing the parallels between Diddy's situation and other colossal scandals that once rocked Tinseltown. The same whispers of hush money deals, buried evidence, and powerful elites pulling strings seem to pop up whenever someone threatens to break the code of silence. Joe Rogan's speculation that this could be bigger than Epstein might sound dramatic, until you consider what happens if Diddy starts naming names to reduce his own sentence. If these accusations have any truth to them, they hint at a broader culture of exploitation in the entertainment industry, one where fame and money afford not just luxuries, but also insidious protections. Diddy's downfall could encourage other former insiders to speak up, potentially igniting a wave of revelations that ripple far beyond music. Production companies, fashion brands, philanthropic galas, they could all be tainted if the rumor mill proves accurate. But let's not forget, Hollywood also has a long history of scandals that flare hot and then vanish, swallowed by endless news cycles. Could this be different? Possibly. Some argue that social media, relentless public scrutiny, and the Me Too era have made it harder to bury the truth. Others say the industry is adept at protecting its own, especially when there's too much money and reputation on the line. Only time will tell if we're witnessing a real turning point or just another dramatic storyline in a town that thrives on spectacle. When you look at the stakes, possible life in prison, connections to some of the most powerful players in entertainment, and allegations that reach disturbing depths, you start to sense we might be at the edge of a historic moment. Diddy's case isn't just a tabloid fiasco, it's a possible litmus test for how serious Hollywood is about rooting out exploitation at the highest levels. From FBI raids that set off a flurry of rumors to close allies suddenly distancing themselves, everything about this situation feels like it's building toward a critical crescendo. Maybe Diddy will walk free, the accusations dismissed as exaggerations or fabrications. Maybe he'll end up flipping on others, dragging big names into the spotlight. Or maybe the verdict will put an exclamation mark on one of the wildest rises and falls in showbiz. At this point, nobody can say for sure. But one thing is painfully clear. The real story is still unfolding, and every new detail seems more alarming than the last. So keep your eyes on that courtroom. Pay attention to who's speaking out and who's staying silent, because in an industry that thrives on illusions, this might be our chance to peer behind the curtain and glimpse the truth, no matter how unsettling it may be. One way or another, Hollywood could be on the brink of a revelation that alters its image forever. Will it be a short-lived media storm, or the start of a genuine reckoning? That answer remains to be seen, but rest assured, the days ahead might be some of the most transformative or terrifying the entertainment world has ever experienced.